I'm definitely not going into a nursing home. You know, I just will not do that. I'll pop off before I go there.
So you legitimately would rather take your own life than go into a nursing home?
That's right.
What is it that scares you the most about nursing homes?
Being treated unfairly, being discriminated against.
That's happening now?
That's happening now. It's still happening. And I've talked to people who've been through it.
In the nursing home, you're not allowed to talk about your sexuality. You can't be who you are. It makes me angry. It makes me sad too.
There are hundreds of others who experience abuse and discrimination on the basis of their LGBTI identities. They're not coming forward because they're scared, absolutely petrified that accessing an aged care service will mean a return to the discrimination the days of old. It certainly puts their health at risk and then ultimately puts their lives at risk.
When I told my family I was gay, I thought it was one of the hardest experiences of my life. But for LGBTI elders, coming out in the 50s, 60s, 70s, when being gay was still illegal, it meant losing your family, losing your job, or worse, going to prison. With massive wins like same-sex marriage being legalised, we like to think those days are history. But in aged care homes across Australia, that fear is still very real. There are thousands of LGBTI elders who desperately need care, and often their only way to get it is by stepping back into the closet.
They go back into isolation once they enter aged care. They are scared to be institutionalised, they're scared they won't be respected because of the things they've faced their whole lives.
But now, for the first time, these brave few are speaking out. They're fighting for an aged care system where all LGBTI elders can feel safe.
Natalie died, and I guess the likelihood of there ever being anybody else in my life now is nil. And, well, I'm lonely.
84-year-old Malloy lost her partner Natalie of 23 years in 2014. She's since been residing in an independent living unit within an aged care provider in South Australia, where she says she's still suffering discrimination.
The manager, she said that I'd been kissing some of the residents, and I said to her, well, that's not true. I said the last person I kissed was my partner after she died.
Malloy says management of the facility have forbidden her from disclosing her sexuality to other residents and restricted her visiting rights. Fearing repercussions, Malloy's flown to Melbourne, where she feels safer to meet with me.
Well, you can't go around saying that to people, that you're not allowed to talk about your sexuality in the nursing home.
How did that make you feel, Malloy, being told that you couldn't be you?
It just sent me back all those years ago to all these things that kept happening, you know, you can't be who you are. Just brought it all back to me.
Malloy's mother found her in bed with another woman, aged 17. At the hands of family, she was subjected to more than 6 years of conversion therapy, a psychiatric practice used to force gay people to deny their true identity.
I had electric shock treatment, and once again, the pinprick in the finger, and you looked at a picture of a boy or you looked at a picture of a girl, and that was supposed to help because he wanted me to become straight. I don't really think that I've ever understood how bad it was.
Can I hold your hand?
Yeah. Yes, well, it's digging up the past. It really is. Your hands are cold.
I'm sorry, I'll warm them up. Does that make you feel less lonely?
What?
Having your hand held?
Yeah, see, this is all lovely. I come to Melbourne and then I go back to lonely old Adelaide. And I don't relate to those people in Adelaide at all. I always feel so sad when I go home. Because I don't have any friends in Adelaide. I haven't had anyone talk to me like this in a long, long time.
10 years ago, we did not acknowledge LGBTI elders. They were completely and utterly invisible.
Dr. Catherine Barrett is the founder of Alice's Garage, a national advocacy organisation working for the rights of LGBTI elders.
I guarantee you that almost every LGBTI elder that you speak to, they may not be getting the care that they need because of the fear of discrimination. It's inequitable, it's not well understood.
It's impossible to know how many gay people there are over the age of 65 because there's almost no data collected on the LGBTI community in Australia. But we do know that LGBTI elders are more likely to need aged care. Many don't have children or family support.
They end up alone in a world that's completely hostile. LGBTI elders feel that they have to completely hide in order to be safe.
Dr. Barrett tells me the aged care facility Malloy experienced discrimination at has been sanctioned multiple times for other matters. The Department of Health imposes sanctions when there's an immediate and severe risk to the safety, health or well-being of someone receiving aged care services. What's not working?
While we have legislation such as aged care standards and various other things, it's still very much reliant on providers wanting to do that. There doesn't appear to be a consequence for a provider that's not inclusive.
Samantha Edmonds is manager of the Silver Rainbow Project at the LGBTI Health Alliance, a national peak health organisation. They're currently collaborating with the government.
That's where the change happens. Like, we need to change the legislation, we need to change the policies, because that then filters down to the providers.
Since 2012, the government spent more than $13 million on strategy and projects addressing LGBTI ageing needs. Where's that money going? Why is that problem still there?
The training of aged care workers is obviously a really key need because you need to upskill the workforce in knowing how to work. Now, that's the start of that inclusive service delivery. We're all here working on their side to change the system.
I've come to meet Jodie Brown, manager at LifeView Aged Care.
Hello. We are the only private aged care facility that has the rainbow tick of accreditation, and we're really proud of that.
Australia?
Across Australia. The only private aged care facility.
So what does that say about the aged care industry as a whole?
They're behind. They're really behind.
Alan, a resident here, is 84. He's gay and since losing his partner, has struggled to find a home where he's accepted. He says without staff at LifeView, he probably wouldn't be alive. Hi Alan.
Afternoon, how are you?
I'm very well, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
It's lovely to meet you.
And you too.
I'd like to know a little bit about your time with your partner, because you were telling me before that you were together for 46 years?
49.
49
thank
years.
You.
Wow, that's impressive. How did you and your partner meet?
I went to a party, a gay party, and he was there. And it started from there. And he was given with someone, and he dropped the other fellow and cottoned on to me.
So you stole him? You
No,
stole him
he
from
stole-
somebody
he
else? He
stole
stole
me.
you?
He stole me.
Hi Jen, I have someone I'd like you to meet. This is Pat.
Hi.
Pat, this is Jen.
Hey Jen, lovely to meet you. I love your pink hair.
Jennifer made contact with LifeView because she was in a home that wasn't inclusive, where she didn't feel safe.
Earlier you said to me, Jen, that you have a secret that you want to share. What is that secret?
You notice that I've got little pride flags in my room. What do you think?
Are you saying now that this is the first time that you're coming out publicly?
Yes.
So what's brought you to this point? Why have you decided to do this now?
Pat, I need to. Because living with the untruth is not good for anyone.
Do you feel some sense of relief?
No, it's not relief exactly. I mean, I've come here in order to feel safer than I felt there.
It's very brave of you to do this. You're a pretty strong woman.
I'm a mouthy woman. And that helps to keep me safe too.
The onus of responsibility has always been on LGBTI elders to straighten up their lives, having to de-gay or straighten up their home. That feels like a terrible injustice. There is so much change that is needed.
And it's not just change in nursing homes. In-home services account for a large portion of aged care provision. Discrimination is feared there too.
If they get a nurse who's coming to the house, they'll put photographs away of their boyfriend or their partner or their girlfriend. A lot of people have actually hidden their life away. You just hide who you are because you're so frightened of what could happen.
Max Primmer has just turned 70. Despite having had pneumonia, a punctured lung, a kidney transplant and open heart surgery, he refuses to move into residential care or have aged care workers come into his home.
Hi Patrick.
Max.
Welcome to my home.
Thank you very much, Max.
Boiled the kettle and made a cup of tea, so welcome to my space.
Love a cuppa. You're very isolated.
Yes.
You're alone, but you do live in a very beautiful place. And there's a lot of frocks, dresses, stiletto heels and interesting hats about the place. I have to ask why.
So dialysis is what you call when you're getting your kidneys washed out, so it's something that's got to be done. And I just wrote the word dialysis, so DI stroke Alice's was the perfect drag name.
That's brilliant. So basically you turned your illness into a drag queen
that's
persona.
right, exactly. Yeah. And I am dialysis and everybody knows me as dialysis.
So why do you have such a deep-seated fear of going into aged care or into a
Because
nursing home?
I want to live my life to the end of my life the way I am. Not hide anything and not go away from who I am and not be afraid and scared of who I am.
What if you get to a point where you have no other option but that?
Well, that's it. Out of here, baby. I'm gone. Life's not worth living if you can't do what you want to do and be who you are.
Where we need to go from here for LGBTI elders in aged care to ensure that they're receiving the services they need, to make sure our LGBTI elders aren't vulnerable. And I hate using the term turning the Titanic, but it really is. I mean, we're talking about repercussions around that if the service isn't inclusive, that maybe there's an impact on funding, maybe there's an impact on their accreditation. Our leaders also need to set that tone and that standard as well. This is certainly coming from the elders that we've spoken to.
Why are you doing this now? Why are you happy to kind of like speak out in this way?
Because sooner or later you're going to lose me and you'll lose others my age.
So you haven't named this particular facility, the aged care facility or the management, and you know, they may see this. Are you worried
No,
that
no,
something bad might come of this?
don't allow it. Speak up, do something about it.
You're very, very brave.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do this. To be accepted, to be one of everybody else.
There is a huge population of people who continue to hide because they're too terrified not to. You don't need to hide who you are, especially in aged care.
Not being out, not being proud, not being who you are, not living your life, the last of your life, the way you want to live it. And there's no point in that. Just be who you are and be proud of who you are, right to the very end. We think we've moved so far forward with marriage equality, but there's just so many more things we have to fight for.
Hi, I'm Jan Fran. If you like that video, check out another one from the feed and don't forget to like and subscribe.